You're listening to The Tom O'Brien Show. As part of Tom's new Tiger Life series, we join in as Tom interviews Peter Merriam from Merriam Vineyards. For more on Tiger Life, go to TFNN.com.
Okay, so we have the fruit, goes off the table, we get it into the large stainless fermented tank. How do we get wine? I mean, I understand. You know what actually blew my mind is that I saw the juice that was going in, and I happen to love your wines because I like big red wines. Okay,
thank you.
And what blew my mind though is that first off, it wasn't red. And I don't want you to jump ahead, but I was looking at the juice. I'm saying to myself, well, how do I get red wine?
Oh, right.
So, in the fermentation, how does this work?
Okay, so, the fruit is basically going up that conveyor belt now,
Yes.
and it's going to drop into a de-stemming unit, where we're going to knock all the berries off from the clusters. All the berries are going to fall down through a machine, that's sort of a pinch roller type of machine, that we can vary the closure. So if we want to just open that wide open and let the berries fall individually whole and intact, which we call the whole cluster fermentation, which gives the wine a little bit softer feel, like a Pinot or our Merlots or like that. Or we can close those roller tabs up and break the berry and crush it a little bit. And that way the juice-to-skin ratio is a little bit higher.
Wow.
And we tend to do that with our Cabernets, Cab Franc, and stuff, hardier, sturdier,
Yes.
bigger wines that we want to get some tannin.
Miktos, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we can control how we're going to put it into these stainless steel tanks. But all juice, whether it's a red berry or a white berry, except for one called Allagash, is white juice. So if you were to remove that juice from that berry immediately, you would have a very, very light rosé-looking wine, or almost clear to Chardonnay color. But when we get it into the fermentation tanks, the first order of business is just to literally let it chill out. We put it in tanks that are all glycol wrapped, so we can control the fermentation process. And in that first 3 or 4 days before we add yeast to ferment the berries, we'll just let it soak, and that brings the color on. If we drew the juice off immediately, which we do to kind of reduce the wine a little bit, to make it a bit thicker, more concentrated,
yes.
It's a rosé. But if we did it on the 3rd and 4th day, it would come out really red, and it would be beyond a rosé color.
Well, you know what? You're going to crack up, but I absolutely love wine, right? And I love you giving not only me, but all the Tigers and Tigresses a great education. But you know how I know that I really love wine, in particular, when John had given me a couple bottles of your wine, right?
Yes.
When my teeth get purple, I'm in heaven. Isn't that crazy, though? But you know what? I've been to huge wine places, and in fact, one night I won the contest for the best wine, right? And it was a high-end wine thing. And at that point, I didn't even know what legs were on a glass, Peter. All I knew, I said, you know what? This is the one I like.
Well, that's it. I mean, you can really go off the deep end with this stuff, and it's what you like. You get a producer that is going to be consistent in quality going forward. To be quite honest, we take a real minimalist approach to making this wine. We don't try to overwork the wine in the labs or anything. You'll see that most of our wines are actually blended. If we have a deficiency, let's say the wine isn't acidic enough, we have enough different vineyards in different locations that we can add the acidity to that bottle by blending in something else. So we don't de-acidify the wines, chemically alter any of our wines. We don't filter our wines at all either. The first fermentation phase usually takes about 14 days, where we add selective yeast to the wines in these stainless steel tanks.
Yes.
The process is the yeast eats the sugar, and the byproduct is alcohol. That's why we really want to control the amount of sugar when we get the fruit into the winemaking facility.
Okay.
If the sugars are way too high, then the alcohols are going to be high, and you're going to have to alter the wine a little bit to bring that down.
I see.
So after 14 days, we will take all the skins and the juice and pumice and everything, and press it off. We'll put it into a special press that's actually a bladder controlled by air pressure. So we can control the amount of pressure that we put on those seeds and pumice and press the juice out of it. If you go too hard on it, the wine's going to be very astringent and tannic. So as we're pressing, we're sitting out there, we'll talk about purple teeth.
Yeah.
We're tasting the wine as it's coming through the press. I mean, at its very rawest stage ever. So when we find that pressing is starting to get a little bit astringent, too tannic, we'll stop the press and we'll cut it off right there. We won't try to wring out every single drop of wine out of that pumice that we can.
Right.